Welcome to Ask Fear and Greed, where we take your questions and do our best to answer them. I'm Michael Thompson, and good afternoon, Sean Aylmer.
Good afternoon, Michael.
Sean, we take questions for this podcast from anywhere. It may be through our website, fearandgreed.com.au, might be on LinkedIn or Facebook, or it might be on Instagram, where Arabella slid into our DMs and asked, you guys talk about headline inflation and underlying inflation. Can you give a simple, and look, if you could underline on Instagram, I suspect you would have underlined simple, explanation of the difference between the two and why it matters. This question could have come from me. I've asked you this question about a dozen times now. So I am very grateful to Arabella for asking this, because it gives me a great chance to put you under pressure once again for a simple explanation, Sean.
The very simple explanation is the difference between headline and underlying inflation is that all the items that move around a lot in any quarter, be that positive or negative, are taken out. And it's actually the 70% in the middle that they look at. They take out 15% on one side, 15% on the other side, like the up and the down, and they only look at the 70%. Now, often that means electricity prices and petrol and fruit and veggies, but it doesn't have to be them.
It's just whatever happens to fall into the has moved the most, is it?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a very simple explanation. I'm sure Arabella wants to hear a little bit more, so I'm going to.
So far, I'm
suggest
keeping up with you. So this is good. Yep.
So we measure inflation from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. They have quarterly releases. More recently, they've had monthly measures, but we really focus on the quarterly ones, and we've got one due out tomorrow. What it is the percentage change in a basket of goods and services that households consume, and how much that's changed between one quarter and the next quarter. There are literally thousands of items in those baskets, and they're kind of shaped into 87 categories. They include what they call goods. So a good might be a fridge, a TV, and services. Think insurance, rent, stuff like that.
And did you say 87 categories?
Yeah. There are 11 groups, 87 categories, and thousands of items.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
The biggest chunks last year, because they do change as pricing change. So housing is the biggest. That's about a fifth or a bit more than that, actually. Food and drink, non-alcohol drink, is a big chunk as well. So too recreation and culture, transport's a big one, and then furnishings and household equipment and stuff like that. So
when you're describing chunks, you're just saying these are the biggest kind of components overall. These aren't the volatile ones necessarily.
No.
These are just overall. Okay.
Yep. These are overall
Yep.
what really contributes a lot to your inflation figure. We talk about the trimmed mean is the one that the Reserve Bank likes. Literally, they're trimming away the big rises and trimming away the big falls in the basket of goods and just taking that middle 70%. Now, that trim mean in more recent times has taken out energy costs, for example, because the government's had energy rebates. So they've dropped. The price of energy has dropped enormously as a result of that. Very volatile. That's sort of been trimmed away. Remember when banana prices went through the roof about 15 years ago? Cyclone Larry it was. Maybe it's longer than that now. A banana, we're talking about $10 or $12 a kilo.
I remember that. And bananas were always kind of like, if they were at $3, they were too expensive.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they were 10, 11, and they became a luxury good.
Totally. And I had young kids at the time, and bananas, you live, when you've got young kids, you live for bananas.
They are your staple.
Absolutely. Now, the changes to the GST in 2000, like they were trimmed away. The government energy rebates were trimmed away. So that's what it is. It's basically the 70% in the middle, and the volatile items taken out. Arabella, why does it matter? Well, at the end of the day, the Reserve Bank is looking for a trend in prices, what's happening, and the trimmed mean gives them the trend. The one-offs and that sort of stuff are taken out. So it's just a better reading on what's happening to inflation in the economy.
You know what? They could use that in universities, writers in schools. You know what? Primary
Junior
schools.
high, I think. Yeah, primary.
Let's start them young. Come on. Uncle Sean's going to teach you teach you about the trimmed mean. I don't know whether that's going to take off. But, I mean, honestly, that was a really, really good explanation. I followed every word.
Excellent.
Bananas help to illustrate it.
Yep. Anytime you use bananas in anything, it's going to work.
Yeah, no, I love that. Okay, Arabella. Let us know if you're satisfied with that answer.
Yep.
If not, we can do a follow-up. We can do it all again. We can put Sean under some more pressure with another question, but hopefully that one will be satisfactory. Thank you very much, Sean, for answering the question.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Arabella.
Thank you, Arabella, for sending one in. If you have your own question, then you too can slide on into our DMs on Instagram or at Facebook or LinkedIn, or if you want to go the old school way, you can send it via email on our website.
I was going to say you could actually post it to us, but perhaps you can't do that anymore. I don't know. I don't think we've got an address.
No, we'll give Adam's address.
We'll give Adam's address. That's a good option.
Our Fear and Greed colleague, Adam Lang, is out.
I reckon he'd still get the mail.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that, like, I mean, I go to the mailbox, but it's probably once a week. And you got all this mail there? Oh, yeah, every day, eh?
I go every day, even though I don't even think the postie delivers every day anymore. But I still go, I'm an optimist, Sean. I live for good news in the mailbox. Mm-hmm. Though I don't remember the last time anything good came in the mailbox.
The JB Hi-Fi catalogue or something like that, maybe?
Yes, and you love a good Aldi catalogue as well to check what the Aldi special buys are going to be. Yep. I will never, ever, ever put a no junk mail thing on my mailbox. Ever.
No.
Ever. All right. We are united on this. I've completely forgotten where we were going. This is Ask Fear and Greed. Make sure you hit follow on the podcast. Join us again next time.